The requirements haven't changed. The basic requirements haven't changed that much because we still fight financial crime. The regulation became more specific. A good and positive development, they become also a little bit more global. So thanks to FATF and other developments, we have now more global regulation, which is really important for innovation to have more harmonized rules. But I think it's important to realize that it's not all new. We have been dealing with this for the last 20 plus years, and it's certainly here to stay. Very positively, attitudes have started to change. What I mean they have started to change is it's much more attention being paid to this right across the organization. Now obviously a lot of people will say, surely, after many banks have paid lots of large fines, that will have focused people. That's true, and of course that would happen, but it's more than that. I think generally through many levels people start seeing the requirement, and it's not just for financial crime, more broadly, that this is your license to play. If you don't do this right, you don't have a license to play. So you have to get it right. The bigger question is now, if I do all of this, what else can I do with the work I have done, with the data I have gathered, the system I have built? Can I drive more value out of them just than regulatory compliance? Obviously you have key players around the financial crime, the regulatory market. You have the banks, you have the regulators, and you have the suppliers. Now, don't want to say Regtech per se, because it's again used as a hype, but it's not fundamentally new. What is new, we see way more players coming to the markets over the last 3-5 years than we have seen 15 years before. So that's great, because you see more innovation, a little bit of competition. That's healthy, because that will drive new solutions. The three parties working together, for me personally, absolutely vital in all of this. Because regulators have a keen interest to protect the markets, customers, and franchises. We want to make sure that we do it very seamlessly the way we comply, but also making sure that we get the best solution possible to fight financial crime. And then lastly, the vendors have to understand that only great technology and the best technology solution won't be good enough if you can't really connect it to the needs of a bank, to the regulatory requirements, and to the overall goal to fight financial crime. So all of these individually ain't going to make a difference. Three working closely together, that will move the needle significantly. I think we are in a very interesting period. As I just said a little earlier, you have a lot of new players that came into the market. That's terrific, but what we also will see out of this is consolidation. So we will have the same event here in 3 years. Some will be there, some will be together, some won't be there anymore. And that's part of the natural selection process. The way we can make this more sustainable is that we team up, look for partnerships in many areas, not in all, but in many areas it's not a competitive advantage. So where can we work together as an industry? And the bigger question is, can we come together not only working on development and innovation, but can we maybe come together and do things together? And I don't mean do things together the Regtech, do things together as private sector, all banks working together in the market with the support of the regulators, and then have the Regtechs to support it. Because each of us, each of the banks individually, only sees a portion of the total picture of financial crime, generally speaking. And if we could pick all of these pieces together and work closely and collaborative as one industry, that will be making it much harder for financial crime, and it will help us to really truly move the needle and make a difference for society and industry as a whole. Events are critical for us to come together. I'm sure there's a lot of connections that have been made today that have not existed before. While of course it exists all in electronic media and online, there's no substitution by a few people just discussing a problem together around the table. Maybe have someone coming to the party who is not even part of that conversation in the first place and have different thoughts and ideas that all together will make a better solution. So I'm really keen to support the industry and be at these events to contribute, to connect, and to make sure that we help each other to get better at this topic to fight financial crime.